Hello, everyone. My name is Ali Smain. I'm so excited to welcome you all today in the new digital live streaming series, Ithra Talks. Every Saturday, Ithra will be bringing you icon, creative experts from around the world in different kind of fields to share with you their knowledge, their experience, and their journey. Ithra proudly hosts the Ithra Cinema, which is one of its many components. As a champion of Saudi creative talent, Ithra has supported the kingdom growth industry in the film. Ithra supported the kingdom industry by producing Saudi-made films. I'm one of the guys who actually benefit out of this production, and also host high-profile Saudi film festival. That's to provide for the established and inspiring Saudi filmmaker a space to connect, to learn, and to showcase their work. Ithra role as a supporter for the talent in the film industry actually continues on, and today's talk is actually part of it. I want to really encourage you to be part of this discussion by sharing your question with for our guest and your comment through social media using please hashtag Ithra Talks. And also please visit Ithra YouTube channel every Saturday at 4 p.m. Saudi time for a new discussion with a new different guest. Ithra produce inspiring film and support the Saudi. I was lucky to be one of them. I produced my first film by actually the support of Ithra. Ithra produced a lot of film that's actually went around the world in different festival and now streaming in different digital platform. And actually, I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful for Ithra for this opportunities. Today, guest is actually over the 25 years. She's a Golden Globe winning, Emmy nominated. He thrilled the audience with his roles from all over the world. He thrilled them as an actor, as a writer, as musician. You may know him as Luther. You also saw him as Nelson Mandela. Please welcome Mr. Idris Elba.
Hi Ali. Hi Ithra Talks. Hi everybody. I'm very honored to be your guest today and talk to you about film. You know, it goes without saying that, you know, at this present junction in time, talking is good. And so I'm very excited to talk to you today.
Let's start from the beginning. And when did you realize that you're in love with acting? Because I believe acting is part of the professionalism. You have to love it in order to do it. Otherwise, you're not going to do it. So when did you realize that you're really in love with acting?
I think so I knew I wanted to act when I was 14. Mm-hmm. I went to a school, a boys' school, and my drama teacher, she encouraged the boys to come and do drama. But I didn't fall in love with acting until I was probably 17, when I went to my college and I did acting, I did dance, I did directing, I did, you know, scene painting, writing, but acting was the one that I fell in love with. I'm an only child, Ali, and so when you're an only child, you have an imagination that just really, you know, is vivid. And so acting was the only way for me to release my energy. And I loved it. I fell in love probably when I was 17.
Nice. So you know yourself from early stage in life, which is, it's actually hard. I mean, a lot of people would know what they want to do when they're, I don't know, 40 or 30, and knowing what you want to do from 17, it's amazing.
You know, I didn't actually. 17 was when I fell in love with acting, but I didn't realize that it could be a career. I didn't think that I could make a living this way. I just knew that I loved it. I knew that I felt that I was good at it, but I didn't know it was a career, you know?
All right. How much do you think that, like, the background of an actor will affect his way of working? I mean, you have different, especially you're in London, so there's a lot of different influence. How do you think that plays a major role in the job?
Look, you know, I always say that a good actor tends to have been someone that has lived a life. Someone, whether that life is good or has been negative, you know, all of that energy informs you as an actor. My personal background, I was, you know, particularly, as I said, I'm an only child. My parents were, you know, working class. So my background propelled me to be an actor because I wanted to do well. I wanted to do well for my family. But as I grew as an actor, I realized that the more I live, the more I am Idris, the better I am the character. The more I know myself, the more I challenge myself, the more I, you know, explore who I am, the more I can explore my characters. So I really believe that, you know, for actors, it is important to build an encyclopedia of experiences, so that when you work with a character or a director or a writer, you can actually draw on your own personal experiences to inform that character, you know?
All right. Yeah. That's actually bring me to a kind of very common question, which is what makes, you just said, okay, knowing yourself, it's actually what makes you rich in terms of acting. Is there a kind of formula or equation to be a successful actor?
You know, it depends on what we define as successful. You can have a very successful performance in a very small film, very small show. You can have a successful career where everybody knows who you are and celebrated. And that version of it is no different from the smaller version in terms of the process, in terms of, you know, how much you need to apply yourself as an actor. For me, success has never been, I feel like I was successful the first play I ever did, or the first improvisation I did, because everyone said, wow, that was great. And to me, that was success. And that feeling of success is replicated at the highest level as well, but it is the same feeling. The equation, though, I think ultimately, you know, Ali, anything you do, you have to apply yourself. You have to do well. You have to do with thought, and you have to do with conviction, you know. And I think if there's any formula, it is that the application, you have to apply yourself 100%. The thing about acting is, though, you can really apply yourself and disappear into a different character, disappear into this person, this psyche. And if you do that time and time again in different characters, in my opinion, that's successful. I've directed actors, and I think the actors that find themselves, you know, thinking about the wrong things tend to not give the best performances. I think the actors that find themselves thinking about every single moment, every single thought, every single reason this character is doing this, they tend to give you the best performance because you don't see them, you see the character.
That's interesting. Actually, I want to ask, like, let's go to the fundamental. What is actually acting? I know, is there another dimension of acting, not just like the physically present on screen? Like, for example, okay, when you watch, like when you see a Van Gogh painting, okay, you don't see just color. You see emotion. You see actually part of his brain in the canvas. What is acting actually?
Yeah. You know, everybody acts every day. It's not called acting, but we all do some version of it. It's role playing, it's telling a story, it's telling a lie, it's omitting the truth. Those are very, very, you know, on the spectrum of acting. Those are on the obscure side, but they are in the formula of acting. They are related to acting. Everybody acts. But when you watch a performance, what you're seeing is two things, you know, the writing of that character, the depth of that character as it's written, merged with the soul of an actor. The soul of an actor, like everybody can technically say the same line. I went to the park. Give it to another actor. I went to the park. But what you start to see is variations of soul, variations of soul. So for me, acting is, you know, I'm jumping into my soul, using my skills as someone that knows how to say words or intonation or using my voice, but it is my soul that is driving it, because it is the writer's soul that has created the character. It is the actor's soul that creates the performance. And so you can tell sometimes when an actor is not there. He's saying the lines, he has the costume on, and essentially surface emotions are there, but there's no soul. You can tell, because you know why? You don't believe it. You say, I didn't believe that guy. And that's where the soul is misconnecting. And to me, that is what acting is, you know, that to me is what true acting is. And also, you know, like I said, everybody acts every day, one version or another. And you know when you're putting your soul into acting about something. It's like for some of the members of IFRA today who have to do a presentation of a writing, or they have to speak to their class or in public. They know the difference between a good presentation and a bad one based on how much they put their soul into it. And that's the component I'm talking about.
That's brilliant. That's actually an interesting definition of acting. It's really nice. Okay, you talked about like merging yourself with the character, become probably one. How far usually Idris will go into this merge between him? Like sometimes, okay, like playing a character. I know that you played a lot of character, and we're gonna go through this because I have a lot of questions about this character and how you tackle them. But you played like roles for years. Let's say, for example, in a TV series, Luther, for example.
Yeah.
How is that really like? Is it like tiring that you are this person for, I don't know, 5 years probably, or something like that?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Is it sometimes just like the line is not clear, or now there's a clear cut between this and that and Idris?
There's a crossover period for sure. You know, with Luther especially, Luther is a character that has real psychological damage, psychological pressure, and you know, to play that character, you know, as you say, I've done 5 seasons of it. And to be honest, each season I've had to have a break directly after playing John Luther, because I can't play John Luther without giving him my soul. But to play him, I have to give him a part of my soul that I suppress myself. That's like a dark, angry, haunted part of my soul. Probably everybody has a part of their soul which is darker.
Yeah.
And for me to merge with Luther, I give him that. I give him that for 3 or 4 months. And even when I come home after 12 days of work, hours of work, you know, it's very hard for me to unwind, especially when I need to sleep and go back to my character. So essentially, I stay in this place with him. When I finish Luther, typically, I need to unwind. I typically, my friends and I don't talk as much when I'm playing that character particularly. And if I find myself being drawn to negative energy, and not in a detrimental way, guys, so don't worry. Just more, I just find myself, you know, he's a murder detective, and he's a murder detective that sits on a cusp. You know, he could be the murderer also, you know. So, you know, to give a part of my soul to play that character is not, I'm not a murderer either, but there's a dark side of me that I really invest into John Luke. And then in other characters, maybe not so much, but, you know, again, it boils down to how much you apply yourself for the character.
Yeah. You've mentioned something very interesting, which is like you really dig deep inside yourself in order to service this dark, and in my opinion, everyone has a dark side, definitely everyone, but it's a matter of I don't know how we show it and when are we using it. In your opinion, with this approaching this kind of character, you approached like a fictional like Luther, and you approached a real life character like for example Nelson Mandela. How far you go with actually investing time and researching between all of the different between like the real character and the fictional character?
Well, you know, with John Luther, the application of time was really about learning what a murder detective goes through. You know, murder detectives have a very, very specific job. It's not for everybody. You know, it's dark. It's you know, you walk into a scene where something horrible has happened, and you have to analyze it from a place of no empathy. A very complex set of things that are going on in your mind. And when I was researching Luther, for example, I spent some time with detectives in South London. And one of these detectives, who was a DCI, which is my character, Detective Chief Inspector, you know, he was a man that was about to retire. So it was perfect for me to meet him, and I got to understand why he wanted to retire. His heart was broken by that point, and he wasn't old. His heart was broken. So I spent time with him. Took me to a couple of his jobs. I didn't go onto a murder scene, but I just traveled with him to understand what that was about. With Nelson Mandela, you know, this is a real man, is an icon to the human race. That was a very different type of research, you know. On one side, I had to learn a whole language, Xhosa, which is his mother tongue. And that's one extreme. The other extreme, I spent one night in Robben Island prison by myself. so that I could understand what that was like for him for 19 years. Those are two extremes, but essentially with Nelson Mandela, it was almost a technical exercise. He's very iconic. We understand how he looks, how he sounds. I don't look or sound like Nelson Mandela, so I had to, have a very technical approach to playing that character, and that was, a combination of understanding what his voice is doing, his language. We had prosthetics for some of the Nelson Mandela, the older Nelson Mandela. But the younger Mandela, I really had to understand what his soul was doing. And to do that was about understanding apartheid, understanding Soweto, understanding his tribe. It was a technical exercise. I was a student of Nelson Mandela. And then on top of that, the application of my soul as an actor, it was quite an interesting one. But, with real characters or fictional characters, for me, the process is about application. It is the same,
Interesting. Also, since we talk about characters and the application of it, for example, you've done this amazing character in the film Beast of No Nation. This is amazing. And do you judge the character that you played? Because you played the innocent, you played the villain, you played a lot of things. Do you really judge them?
Well, that particular character, that was a very difficult character to like. There was very few qualities about him that I admired. But I had to find what I admired about him in order to play him. If you ask me, do I think what he had done, what he did in his part in a civil war, it's not for me to judge him, but I don't respect him.
Yeah.
However, to play him, I had to understand him. I had to understand the circumstances. I had to understand his background. And when you if you're a lawyer for a murder, I've got a thing about murder today.
All right.
If you're a lawyer, a defense lawyer for a murder, you cannot walk in and judge this person, even though you may know he's guilty. Your job is to understand the circumstances, who that person is, and your job is to defend. My job as an actor is not to come in and judge his character. It is to emulate him. It is to bring him to life, to tell the story. I have to admit, though, that character was one of the characters. I shot that in Ghana, in Accra, and it was a low-budget movie. So, the bridge between Idris and the commandant was blurred many times because we didn't have time to go home. I was working 17 hours, and we had sometimes 200, 250 young actors, extras, who were fans of Idris, but as their extras were fans of the commandant. So the lines would blur. Whenever I walked onto set, everybody would stand up. Commandant! And this wasn't commandant, this was Idris walking in. So this weird juxtaposition against me and him. So I found myself playing that character more and more. And because the added complexity was that a lot of the actors were not experienced, they looked to me as an actor, experienced actor, to show them. And to show them, I had to be more like my character than Idris. So this very interesting, blurry, crossover appeared on that film. My character in that film is not a good human being. Very dark place.
But I think you did him justice with I mean, the acting there. And so I really love that character in terms of, not like I love him as a person, as you said. Okay, he's done a terrible job. You've said something about you shot in different parts of the world, and that's part of the beauty of the industry that we work on, because you explore the different part of the world, you see different people, you learn from them, you a lot of culture. How is cinema or being an actor actually helps you in understanding what's going on around you in the world, and what's the different culture, and like how did it help you actually?
Well, I think anybody that is receptive to cultures, people, environments, receptive by way, I mean, open arms, happy to explore, they are, in my opinion, a richer person. Someone that has probably a deeper understanding of our world, because they can accept other cultures, or at least understand other cultures. As an actor, yes, you and a director, as a writer, and you tell these stories from these different worlds. You have to understand them, and for me, that's made me personally a richer person. When I think about exactly now what the world is going through, and I'm not a fortune teller, but I knew that was going to happen. I could sense that something like this was going to happen, and maybe it's because having lived a full life at 47 years old, 4 decades, I've seen variations of this moment before, but this moment is particularly unique because the whole world is involved. I don't claim to understand exactly why, but I could tell you that just in my experience of life, maybe because I've had many, many opportunities to study different cultures, I certainly, I sensed this would happen. I sensed that in my head. When any writer, when they tell a story, they tell the story, they have the beginning, the middle, and the end. And I think when you have, sort of life experience, or you sort of have again, open arms to the world, you can map out where this story is going to end. In my opinion, this story, hopefully, and by the way, it's a hopeful ending, that our world would be a little better by way of understanding each other. Good or bad, when the world closes off to each other and they don't understand each other, that's why we end up in this situation. But because now so many people are opening up their true feelings, good or bad, there will be better understanding, I think. And that, again, I'm not a prophet, but I believe that that's how this cycle of our world is gonna end up.
Hopefully it's going to end up well. I have to ask you, I know that you visited Saudi, since we're talking about like going around this kind of thing. What did really strike you in Saudi, if you had the chance to go around and see things?
I didn't have enough time to visit, which I'm actually embarrassed to say. I didn't have time to visit. First of all, I found that Saudi was incredibly warm and welcoming to me, in a surprising way, if I'm honest, and I was surprised because I wasn't sure if my work had ever resonated in Saudi. I learned very quickly that.
Oh, believe me, there's a lot of people like when I just said to people, okay, I'm meeting Idris, like, oh God, like everyone went nuts, like said, oh, can you ask him this? Like, no, you have a really big fan base in Saudi.
Ali, and I didn't know that. So my trip was very quick and brief. But I found it very warm, very welcoming, and very warm heat-wise.
Oh yeah. I mean, I wish we met in different circumstances, and I'm sure like our friend in Ithra really love to have you like in their buildings, and they're amazing building. You have to visit it.
Can I ask you what are the 5 things you would want me to see if you could take me around? Maybe 3.
All right. First, actually, I have to say I want you to see Saudis, like the people. I really want you to see that. I think you would be really surprised about them. Like we have more than 60% of Saudi are under the age of 30. So it's a youth. It's like it's full of power and energy. So that's the first thing. Definitely you have to go and see our environment. I'd really want you to take a tour around Saudi, so you see mountain, desert, sea. Like it's an amazing place to be. And the most important thing, I think, Saudis, the people are really, really, really nice and genuine. I'm not saying this because I'm Saudi. I think we are like this.
It's okay for you to say that. You can own that.
I can own it. Thanks. All right. So things that I really want to talk about is your method of picking a job. I know that's everyone has a kind of criteria, kind of like preference in terms of script. How do you decide? Okay, I want to go with this script or that script.
The main criteria for me, the first question I ask is, have I played this character before? That's typically the first thing I ask myself and what I look for. And if I can answer that question, yes, but I'm still interested, then I'm asking myself, what is the variation of this character different from the character I've played before? If I have not played that character before, then I'm looking for how to, disappear in that character. How does Idris disappear? I recently done a film which hasn't come out yet, and it's about urban cowboys in Philadelphia. And in Philadelphia to this day, since 100 years ago, the African-American community raised horses in a city, and they call them urban cowboys. And I played an urban cowboy. I don't ride horses. In fact, I'm allergic to horses. This is a very, very specific Philadelphian character. And I was attracted to that character because this was very different from anything I'd done. Nothing like Beast of No Nation, Nelson Mandela, Pacific Rim, whatever. None of that. This is very different. But also, the character, I took the character because he's a father. I'm a dad too, and there was something very touching about the story between he and his son. The film's called Ghetto Cowboy. Concrete Cowboy, I beg your pardon. The film's called Concrete Cowboy, and it should come out later. But I chose that film because it was certainly something I had never done before. And I think generally that's my criteria. It's like, I just want to try and reinvent myself every time if I can. And that's how I choose.
So we said, okay, you picked a script or you picked a character. We talked about preparation of each character. Then we all know, okay, we move to production. and with the, I don't know, like the madness of production and the stress and the physical actually stress and also mental stress in production. I know sometimes it's not very kind of, yeah, it looks from outside that it's a fun, and it should be fun, but it's kind of easy. But in reality, it's a lot of work. It's a lot. I mean, early morning call, and I know it's just, I know this is really hard. And you have, I don't know, the stress of shooting time is always a challenge. What's the most important thing that you should have in the production that would make you really true to your character?
Well, you know, production, one of the things I look for when we produce a TV show or a film is the scheduling. That's always very important to me. It's like, what scenes am I shooting on what days? It's very rare that you get to shoot the film in the order of the story. So as an actor, it is important that I understand what part of the story I'm shooting where, because there are emotional pinnacles that you shoot first because of the location. And that will be seen later on in the film. And then, you know, you find yourself sort of a little bit like, whoa, how do I, you know, I'm not there as an actor yet, but I have to shoot that scene very soon. So for me, looking at the schedule is very important. You know, having a good crew, like a crew is, you know, what I love about my industry is that it's a team. It's teamwork. You know, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Everybody has to fit together. Although the actor is the face and essentially all the audience may be looking at, the teamwork behind that is crucial. It's crucial. If you have a bad crew, or you have a crew that's not connected with the director, with the actors, you see it in the film, you see it in the product. So that synergy between crew, actor, and director is essential. You know, when I was directing for the first time, that was, you know, I got to know my crew as well as I got to know my actors. It's important. You know, I've seen directors that yell, scream, shout at producers or actors or crew, and the energy of that is bad. And by the way, these are good directors. The energy they give out is tends to sour the room, perhaps sour the drama. You know, it adds tension between actors, tension between crew members. So I'm always, it's important for me to have harmony on a set. I think that's very important.
Yeah. As I said, okay, you've been director and you've been like in two chairs, like a director, and you've been, I mean, you're an actor. In your opinion, what's the best kind of dynamic and relationship between actor and director? Because it's actually, being an actor, it's very vulnerable. You have to really show your emotion, and like and sometimes it's not pretty. It's not, because you do some like different things on front of screen. So which kind of, because I do trust, like trust is a big thing, as you mentioned, but which kind of dynamic that you usually prefer or usually work with the director? Like in terms of when you're an actor, and also when you're a director, how did you actually behave with your actor?
So as an actor with a director, you know, I look to my director to be the smartest person in the room. I want my director to know what time it was 5 scenes ago and what time it is now. I want that, to know that. And the reason is because as an actor, if you are meant to be in the moment, I don't want to think about anything else. I just want to be here. And the only person that I can ask questions or lean on for feedback is my director. You know, the actors and directors, it's kind of like therapists. therapist and client, because you're bearing your soul in this one scene, and then you turn to your director, and your director tells you what they think and what they want to see more, or what they try, what you should try. And that is about trust. You really need to trust each other. Actors tend to have egos, tend to be fragile, and as a director, and this is me as a director talking to actors now, I want them to feel, if they're feeling insecure, they feel angry, direct it to me. I'm your therapist. I'm going to help you through this scene. Show me. Trust me. Trust that what I'm telling you is for the better of the scene, for the better for your your performance. And, that trust is a two-way street. I think for any young directors that are watching this talk now, take an acting class. Take an acting class. Be vulnerable. Have somebody else direct you in something that this is not your comfort zone. And then it will inform you as to how you approach your actors. And then actors who are watching this, devise a scene. Devise a scene, write it, 2-page scene, and direct other actors into how you want to see it. Where the camera's going to go, where you're going to walk. Because I think if actors and directors swap jobs for a day, then they have a lot more appreciation for what each other do, and the harmony tends to be better. That's my opinion.
Sure. Let's say, okay, we picked a script, we prepared, we shot, okay, for the production. And that's actually reflected on the trust part that you said. The post-production is actually, it's a major thing that how actually actor will be presented to people. I know from experience that actor really get really anxious during that time, because he did his part. I perform, I did the best I can, then it's somebody else's hand to see it. And let's be honest, sometimes editing a post-production really, really ruin somebody's performance.
Yeah. Or enhance it.
Exactly. Or enhance it. How far, as a director, I want to ask you this as a director, not as an actor. Why do you pick this shot or this take and not that one? Why? Is it performer led? Is it technical led? I don't know. What's your preference on that one?
If I can watch a scene or a camera angle or a performance without wanting to touch it, that's my barometer. If I can watch, maybe Ali, when you watch this back, there's going to be one particular exchange between you and I where you say something, I say something, you say something, I say something, we laugh, the audience laugh, and you just can't take your eyes off it. That is my barometer. I don't want to touch that. But I do know if I have 2 other angles on that same moment, I can then use that master as a way to make it better, or to elongate moments, or to... So there are some actors that give you the most incredible takes last. And there are some actors, when I was directing, I would not say action until I already done 2 takes. I would say, hey, we're going to rehearse. Roll. And they would rehearse. And oftentimes the rehearsal takes were incredible when I'm in the edit, because they weren't aware. They were, much more realistic, hands moving naturally, eyes moving naturally. As soon as you say action, conscious.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's good, actually, in the edit. because you can use those moments of real poise, real, this is an actor moment. But if you throw that up against what is natural to them, it can make a performance look incredible. As an actor, I tend to, want my director to have as many different ways of saying this line. Because if I do one take, which is a little bit more, is faster and quick and less moving of my eyes, keeping still, then I want to give him another take which has a variation to that. And then I want to give him another take that has a combination of the two. So when he's at it, he can go, I really love that focus take, but I want some smiles here. And this take, so you can merge the two. But, I think as an actor that's directed or a director that's acted, I essentially now I'm looking at acting very differently.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we have to stick with our time. So I have our friend in Ithra just throw us a couple of questions that they want to go through it very fast.
Yes.
It's so let's see what they have for us. That will be actually nice. So what is the best advice you got actually?
For acting, for filmmaking?
Yes, for filmmaking.
The best advice I will have is, if you're an actor, you should know the arena that you're stepping into, like the back of your hand. You should know what it is to be an actor in every aspect of it. You should study the business as an actor. You should study who gives you jobs, how you get jobs. You should study your unions. You should study other actors and how their journey is. This is outside of your craft as an actor. Arena of acting, you should know everything you need to know. You should be able to be your own agent as a young actor. In other words, if I call you and say, hey, do you have an agent? And you say no, and I'm going to say to you, okay, great. Well, I have some questions for you. I need you to answer those questions. I need you to understand if you're a dramatic actor or a comedic actor and why. I need you to understand that do you understand how much you might be paid or not? Do you understand how many days? Do you understand how a working day happens? I need you to be your own agent. Now, people say that, well, that's good advice, but it doesn't get me a job. It doesn't get you a job, but what it does is gives you an understanding of how to get a job. Because the biggest misconception is, I'm going to go for an audition and I'll get the job and I'm suddenly an actor. That's not it. A professional actor is also a business person. And in this day and age, it's important that you understand that arena.
All right. I also want to ask you, what was the most memorable role throughout your career so far?
Most memorable, I did a small film called Sometimes in April about the genocide in Rwanda. I moved to Rwanda 10 years after that genocide to make that film. I was there for 3 months. It just changed my life. The film is very sad, heartbreaking film, but that movie as an actor really changed my life. I can't even say why. I just know that I came out of that film a very different actor. Raoul Peck is an incredible director, directed that, and he was a very strict, composed director, and so I learned a lot from him.
All right. What is the most, the biggest misconception of being an actor?
That actors lie a lot. You're an actor, you must be a good liar. That's what I hear all the time.
I mean, I think everyone lies. It's like an actor or another human being. Everyone. All right. I'm sure everyone has a dream kind of character want to play. Did you get your dream character did you play it or not yet?
Every character for me is a dream character. When I wanted to be an actor and I wanted my first job, you know, I wanted to get that character so much. That was my dream character. And then, you know, to this day, you know, the next job that I'm going to go into now after, you know, this time period is right now my dream character. It's like, whew, I can't wait to get back in. So there are roles that would challenge me in a way that perhaps I would love to see that challenge. I would love to do an entire movie in a foreign language. That would be a challenge, but that wouldn't be my dream character. Every role that I get is a dream character for me.
Can you do character in Arabic? That would be challenging.
That would be a challenge, but that's, you know, to merge the technical aspects of learning the language and who my soul will become, that would be exciting to me.
Okay. If your life is a music track, okay, which kind of music it would be?
It would be, well, it would be a fusion of classical, drum and bass, reggae, and hip hop. I didn't answer that question.
That's okay.
That would be my favorite music.
All right. I wanted to ask you this because I want to move to something that really interesting. Okay. This morning, actually, I was doing like a small job for a friend of mine, and he is actually a DJ. Then he knows like he knows. I said, "Oh, I'm meeting Idris Elba," and the guy went really crazy. Okay, he's a DJ. That's actually a person like, okay, you're well known as an actor, but you're a DJ, and you're a music producer. What strike like in like what really get you into music? Is it something that you did long time ago, or is it something that you picked after being an actor?
No, I was a DJ before an actor. I was a DJ at 13 years old because of my uncle. He was a DJ, and I've been making music since I was 16. I've been a bedroom DJ. I'm the oldest bedroom producer DJ in the world. I've always had, you know, a small studio in every single house I've lived in. And I've always produced music. I love it. It's more of a technical thing. I'm one of these guys. If you bought me a gift, Ali, and you said, "Do you know how to use it?" and I'm like, "No." My favorite thing is to read the manual, okay, and figure it out. And that's how I've made music. And then I think, you know, at one stage in my life, when I moved to New York, I was, you know, maybe 27, 28 or so. I had to DJ to make a living. I was not working as an actor for nearly 3 to 4 years, and I DJ'd for a living. And New York is a very competitive DJ. You know, the art of DJing was created in New York, and so I remember being, you know, a DJ in New York and struggling as an actor. But so I'm very attached to it. And now, you know, I make music for my films. I make music as a DJ. You know, I'm a rapper, dude. I get them bars out. You know, I just have fun with music because it's very, it's very therapeutic for me. You know.
Is there a difference between the creative process with like creating a music or creating a film?
For me, yeah. You know, music is very insular. You're by yourself. You know, typically I've been by myself. It can be very collaborative, but when you make a song, you start off with the components, the guitar, the piano, the drums, and you program that yourself. Where with a film, it's always collaborative. You're either saying somebody else's words, or you're acting somebody else's direction. But with music, it's very much you.
Okay. I mean, we can't ignore that we're living in a very strange kind of time with this COVID-19 and the effect of that virus in human being and in our industry. I know that you announced that you're one of the first celebrity that you publicly announced that you got the virus. And how are you now? Are you good?
Thank you for asking. I'm good. I'm virus free. I actually feel very lucky to be alive, if I'm honest. And it's almost given me a new lease of life, a slightly, different perspective on life. But I'm very thankful. I'm good. I'm healthy.
Thanks for that. How do you think this virus is affecting our industry? The shift of the shutdown of the cinema, now the increasing of digital platform. You work in you very good relationship with Netflix, and you have, I think, a couple of shows there. How do you see the future of the industry with these changes?
I think there's a few components to that answer. From a technical point of view, making films with the restrictions, I think actually it's going to create a new innovative type of filmmaker. I read an incredible article only yesterday about the new environment engines that they use in games with the PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox One. The new environment engine actually takes realistic environments that are manipulated per camera. So essentially, with a green screen, you could input any environment with your actor being in a small green screen place. And what that actually means is that there's going to be a real surge towards being innovative because of the restrictions of filmmaking. I think the restrictions will be lifted at some point, but I do believe that until there is some real safeguard against COVID, which is a very contagious virus, and because film industries need to ensure their productions, I think you're going to find that people are using new technology to make films, and actually may even give us more tools to make more imaginative storytelling. So I think that's a plus. I'm saddened because I do believe that the days where people all congregate to watch a movie or watch some theater or go and see a live show, I think those days are troubled. I think that's going to be a very difficult thing to get past, because by the way this virus works, that's going to cause mayhem and keep perpetuating more spikes in that thing. So for cinema goers, it's going to be an interesting time. I think that we've already seen the sort of rise in streaming, and people can watch movies at home. But I really do, coming from my generation as an actor, I believe that the movies should be seen on a big screen. However, there are so many innovative ways to have that same experience. People are using their VR glasses. They sit in this environment and suddenly they have a 90-foot screen right in front of them. I think that if you're a young filmmaker, really looking at the future of filmmaking and how people will digest film and how they would absorb it, that's a really key component to you as a young filmmaker, because this is your time. The interesting thing about the environment engine I was telling you about is that it gives a smaller filmmaker the same capabilities as the big films.
Right. Actually, we're almost there. Now, I mean, for those who are watching us, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for having your question on social media using Threat Talks. We have a question from Man. He's a Saudi inspiring actor. He would join us and ask his question. Ma'an, are you with us?
Yes, hello. Hi, how's it going?
How are you?
Hey, assalamu alaikum, Habibi Idris. How are you, man? Thank you so much for enlightening us and inspiring us and taking the time to talk to us as Saudi Arabians, a new industry. My name is Ma'an bin Abdurrahman. I went to the US and I studied filmmaking and acting, and particularly the New York Film Academy. And, as a foreigner who went to Hollywood and trying to make it, you set an example, one of the few successful examples that you made it. And not just made it, and your name became a global and you're a star. And to a point where, us Saudis and the Middle East heard of you and became big fans of you. And besides acting, I'm actually a huge fan of your music as well. And I watched your show. Sorry. Hello?
No, go.
Go for it.
Yeah. So I watched your show, Turn Up Charlie, and I was really sad when it didn't get season 2. And I was one of the fans of that show. Thanks. And funny story that last year I attended Coachella, and when I saw your name there, I was so excited to attend your concert. And I was one of those, actually really close to the stage. I was cheering you up. So
what?
Yeah, I swear to God, when you played that "This Is America," oh my God, mix, everyone went crazy. I remember that, bro. I remember it. It's resonated in my mind. My question is basically, Idris Elba, you are a memorable actor who started in the 90s and the 2000s with hit shows like HBO's The Wire, Luther, but about 10-15 years ago you became an A-lister. You became a movie star. You know what I mean? Like everyone looks up to you. You are sexiest man alive. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm a huge fan. Like I watch your stuff and I watch your interviews. But really, what was the turning point? What's the secret sauce? Like, what's the secret from becoming an actor, whose work is memorable, okay, but and transitioning to a superstar,
Thank you, man. That's a great question. I really don't think there is any one formula to that transition, but I do know that consistency, consistent hard work is what got me to a place where many more people could see my work. I think there's a little bit of luck, but I do believe you make your own luck. So there's no particular formula. I do remember when I did Luther, and Luther was a return back to television for me. I remember that because I was so committed to that character, when it exploded onto TV in the BBC, I remember that moment. Many people were like, that's the guy from The Wire. Whoa. And essentially, where they realized that there was a big range between this type of character and this type of character, and there was all these different little characters that I had played on different films. I think that's what essentially sparked my interest, that people were interested in me. But it is about consistency, man, and it's about putting yourself into that position. You being here now, I think that you manifested this moment yourself. I think that you said, one day I'm going to speak to Idris, and one day he and I are going to have a conversation about it. And I think you put yourself in that position. That is what I mean, that people make their own luck, okay? You manifested that. And for me, I manifested the career that I'm thankful to have right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
That's a really great answer.
Thank you, man.
What is this?
Thanks,
so
man. Thanks a lot. I wanted to take a couple of questions from our viewer through social media.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. There's a lot of people ask you, like, when are you coming to Saudi?
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot, like, I have a lot of people asking me, like, when is he coming to Saudi? When is he coming to Saudi? So please, that's an extension, like invitation.
Yeah,
Whenever we're done with this virus, hopefully we'll host you in Ithra. Okay. One interesting, actually, question from Firas Al-Mashra is actually asking about working with first-time director. Have you ever worked with a first-time director, and what are the challenging and what are the advices that you can give into, like, for actors who work with first-time director?
So yes, I have worked with first-time directors, and you know, I've been saying this the whole time. It's about synergy. It's about the trust. So regardless that this is their first film, they still have to have the attributes that I'm looking for. Is that, can I trust you? Are you the smartest person about this material? Mm. If I know more than you, then the likelihood is that I'm going to direct this movie and not you, and that's not good. So being able to know that that person is the true authoritarian of the story, of my character, of every aspect of the film, that is always important. Mm-hmm. First-time directors have a lot to prove, and sometimes that could work in their favor, and sometimes it can work against them. I think as an actor, it's important that you understand where in that gauge they are sitting, so you can be a partner. As an actor working with a first-time director, you must leave your ego outside and let the director really apply their vision on you. That's really, really key. Even if you think they are wrong, it is better that you get into a forum of discussion than saying no. Because first-time directors have worked so far to get to this one point. And you as an actor have been blessed to take that part. You really do have to allow that director their moment. You know, let them have their moment. Let them explain to you what their vision is.
Thanks. There's a question from Twitter, actually, from a handle called Ayman. He's actually asking about like Marvel character. I mean, you played in Marvel movie, and he said, okay, is there a chance that you would go back to Marvel character and play it?
Well, you know, no spoilers, but you saw what happened to my Marvel character in one of the movies. But you know, my character is from Asgard, so there's no telling what might happen. Would I go back to Marvel? Absolutely. I had an incredible time working with the Marvel guys. They're a very great team, and they make incredible films. And yeah, I would.
Great. Unfortunately, I think we are almost there. I'd leave the floor to you, Mr. Elba, to actually address our audience. If you have any thing you want to address, the floor is yours.
Okay. Well, Ali, I want to thank you very much for a great job. And Ithra Talks, thank you for hosting me during this time. And to the audience, I really hope that I could answer some of your questions and queries about my career. I thank you so much for coming. As I said to you, I was very surprised to understand that I have a following in Saudi. I'm very proud that I had this moment with you at this time. I said earlier, you know, I think our world needs to talk to each other a bit more. and for you guys to invite me here at this point is special to me. It's the first invitation of a talk that I've had during this time, and so I really appreciate that. I would love to just remind anyone that is aspiring to be, whatever that is, you know, there is a combination of throwing your soul and your heart into every aspect of what you do. The technical know-how and the consistency, okay? You may fall over. You may stand up again and fall again. Be consistent. Be always innovative with the technicalities of what you want to do. Be it an actor or filmmaker. Be always evolving, always understanding, okay? And throw your heart into everything. Don't let anybody say to you, you can't. Don't let that energy into you, because your energy is the only energy that will get you up every time you fall and will see you at the end of the day. So no matter what you do, whether it's an actor or a director or a writer or a producer, you know I'm saying something that's not revelationary, but it is really, really important that these four components live together in synergy for your success. And if you ever found yourself in a moment where I'm not sure, check your list. Are you being honest? Are you being consistent? Do you know what you're talking about technically? Ask yourself those questions and then pull yourself into your position. I'm very thankful to be here today. I'd love to come back. One day I will come to Saudi again and see everyone, and I hope we could see each other. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Idris. I'd really love to thank our audience who joined us in this live stream, and also participate in the Q&A through social media. I'd encourage them to log in actually every Saturday to Ithra's YouTube channel at 4 p.m. Saudi time to see the next episode of Ithra's talk. It's going to be with Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. That would be a really interesting conversation. I also encourage everyone to be part of this conversation, as Mr. Elba just said, that we need more communication. So I encourage you guys to have your question in the social media using Ithra Talks hashtag. And hopefully we would see Mr. Elba soon in Saudi. Thank you very much for joining us, and thanks everyone for tuning in. And stay tuned next week in Ithra channel. You would have an interesting conversation. Thanks.